Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center. As you can see by the title and by the thumbnail, today we're going to be breaking down some film from Quentin Johnston's Week 1 matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're going to dive straight into it. So the very first play, you see that the Chargers are under center. A lot of teams in the league today run a lot of shotgun. And obviously by being a copycat league, whatever is working, whatever a team is having a lot of success with, a lot of people are going to try to pull from it and implement it in what they do. So you don't really see a lot of under center. And the under center is good because you're able to sell the run much more, and it makes the play action so much more believable. And not only that, it also helps out with the boots and things of that nature, because it gives you a two-way option in a sense. So right here, you see how the defense crashes down because they're anticipating that it was a run. Now you got an option with throwing it to the Quentin Johnston, whether that's you sending them on jet sweep or whether that's you just sending them out of the backfield. And you got an option for the quarterback if they're rolling out to also be able to get it if they can use their feet, especially ones like Justin Herbert. So right here, man, the defense, obviously they bite on the run heavy, and they send Quentin Johnston from the slot position all the way across the back of the formation, and they just do a little pitch and catch to him. And it looks like I say the defense, it put them in conflict because they seen play action and they automatically thought that it was run, especially if the Chargers had been having a lot of run, having a lot of success that game with the run. And then right here you see the ability, like I always talk about, what can you do on your own? So when everything works in terms of the play call like it did right here, now once we put that ball in your hands, what can you do with it? Do you just get tackled by the first person that get to you, or are you able to eat up some yards after the catch, get some tough yards if need be, or be able to make guys miss? So right here he was able to catch and run. Good pass by Herbert. I'm not quite sure what the corner was doing. I don't know if he was anticipating him going out of bounds or if he just was scared to tackle, but him being hesitant like he was, it allowed for Quentin Johnston to be able to eat up some more yards on the yards after the catch. Let's take another look at that again. You see the corners, like he gonna hesitate. I guess he thought that he was going to go out of bounds, and he kind of faked him right there, and he was able to maximize on the yards gain on that play. All right, so right here you got the Chargers. They're in the shotgun. So this is one of my favorite positions, field positions in football, and that's the red zone. I love red zone possessions, and you always hear me utilize the term "gotta have it." And more times than not, when I talk about gotta have it situations, those are normally third down, normally fourth down. But for me, whenever you get down into the red zone, man, in my opinion, I think that every down is a gotta have it down, whether that's a first down, second down, third down, or fourth down. So right here you have the Chargers in shotgun, and they're in a condensed formation, meaning that everything is much tighter. You see that you don't have anybody lined up outside the numbers. Everything for the most part is pretty much lined up inside the numbers, and this is always a good formation to run in the red zone. And right here you see the benefits of running those condensed formations, because it creates a lot of traffic in the middle, and it can lead to natural pick and rub routes just like this one right here. But then even if it was going up against zone, you can put defenders in conflict in terms of being high-low, running the same route just at different depths, and depending on how they play it, it gives you an option to throw it from there. But right here you see that the Chiefs are in man, and they just kind of get caught up. One guy's not really paying attention, so when Quentin Johnston releases, you got the linebacker that's right there, and he just does a good job at using that linebacker as like almost in a sense like a pick, and the corner had a hard time with trying to fight through it, which led to him eventually falling, and that just left from him being wide open in the end zone. But like I always say, man, when you get down to the red zone, you want to be able to put up points, because games are won and lost in the red zone, and right here they're able to capitalize on it. All right, so right here on this play, you end up getting a one-on-one matchup with Quentin Johnston. On the left side, that would be the left side of the formation. So you see that they're in a shotgun formation. So we've seen that they utilize shotgun, and from time to time they utilize under center as well. But for me to classify you as a number one receiver, and an elite level receiver, at any level, whether it's high school, college, or football, or high school, college, and pro, you have to be able to win those one-on-one matchups whenever we get them, right? So if we get a one-on-one matchup outside, no safety help, we need you to win those matchups, because that's the only way that we could take advantage of those formations. And what happens if you can't win one-on-one matchups and we go against a team that plays a lot of man? I mean, it's gonna be a uncomfortable day for us as an offense. So right here, he was able to win that matchup. You see that he's lined up kind of slightly outside the numbers, and that kind of as from a DB standpoint, you looking at it like, okay, it really gives him three options. Obviously, regardless of where you line up, the seam, the go ball is always an option, right? Now, when you line up closer to the out of bounds, towards the outside, it takes away from anything outbreaking, just because you got that sideline you're working against. Now, as a corner, I know that you only have vertical and you have inside, but when you line up where he's lined up, it gives you the option of having, more gives you more route options, pretty much like that. You know, is lining up where he lined up is almost equivalent to lining up in the slot. And I feel like when you line up in the slot, you have a whole different route tree and options that you have to defend as a corner. The corner was showing up close, showing as if he was going to kind of play press and get his hands on him. He didn't. He gave him a free release. He just kind of beat him from the beginning of the route. Honestly, man, just utilizing his speed to be able to close the distance. And you see at the top of the route, he kind of does a good job at using the art of deception, kind of leaning as if he's going to bounce that thing outside and then just sticking his foot in the ground and being able to come and being able to just break it off inside. And like I say, man, once you get those one-on-one matchups, we need to be able to win those one-on-one matchups. And he shows you that he can win those one-on-one matchups as well. And on top of that, too, just the ball placement from Herbert, just putting that thing right there between the numbers, and then for him to be able to catch and then being able to just rack up some extra yards after the catch. For me, those are the small things that, stands out to me. It's one thing just to make the catch right there, but to be able to make the catch and make some guys miss and just extend it and maximize on a few extra yards, a lot of times, man, can be the difference on a successful drive and a non-successful drive. All right, so right here on this play, you got the Chargers once again. They're lined up in shotgun formation. You got Quentin Johnston, who's lined up in the slot. So we've seen him be able to, affect the game in a multitude of different ways. We've seen him be able to line up in the slot. We've seen him be able to line up on the outside. We've seen him be able to, do the kind of a jet sweep without the ball in your hands, eventually just getting the ball to you. So we've seen that he has the versatility to be able to do a multitude of things. And like I always talk about, for me, I'm big on guys that can do multiple things, that has multiple aspects of their game, because like from a defensive standpoint, when we're coming into a game, we're analyzing and we're saying, okay, who are your best players and how can we take them out the game? Especially if it's a receiver, we need to implement some type of bracket double coverages. Now, when you're going up against a guy that they move around the formation, now you having to play the game of hide and seek and say, okay, where is he going to line up at? Because if we don't know where he's lining up at, then it takes away from us being able to really double team and bracket him the way we want to, because we don't know if he's going to line up on the outside. We don't know if he's going to line up in the slot. We don't know if he's going to line up in the backfield. Like, you really don't know. So it kind of becomes a guessing game, and it allows defensive coordinators to not take away a guy that's a big focal point in terms of your offense. So right here, you see him lined up in the slot, and Kansas City, just pretty much get caught up in man coverage once again. And like I said, man, when you get in man, are you able to, when we get those one-on-one matchups in man, are you able to capitalize on those opportunities? And that's what a number one receiver does. And that's what we've seen him be able to do a few times in his game. And it's no different from this play right here. And he kind of just had the corner beat just from a leverage standpoint. So you see that it looks like they was running some type of rotation in terms of the defense, show this look, but then rotate into this. So when they done that, he already was caught in a bad position, because you see his hips is open. So his hips is already opened up, right, with his butt to the sideline. So all Quentin Johnston does is run pretty much, it looks like like a little skinny post route, and he just works back across his face, and he just wasn't able to get his hips around in time, and it was just an easy touchdown. But I would say something too, I noticed, and even from the first clip, when he was able to kind of separate away from the defense, he does have speed on top of, he look like he's a bigger guy, but then he also has speed. And I think that's why he's able to, and that's what helped him to be able to win those one-on-one matches, especially if you're playing off coverage with a guy like that's pretty fast, because the route didn't really look like much, but it just looks like he was able to close the distance. And that's always what I always talk about, just being able to close that distance, get from point A to get to point B, and eat up that cushion and make it uncomfortable for that cornerback. And a lot of times it puts them in bad predicaments just like that. That's what makes speed so lethal. And then plus two, once again, you're in the red zone. And, for me, like I always say, man, when you get in the red zone, every down is a got to have it down no matter what the down is. And you always want to put up points, preferably touchdowns, obviously. And that's what they were able to do right here. And he gives you that presence. We've seen him be effective, and both of his touchdowns that he had came in the red zone. But then I also love the ability to be able to make those explosive plays downfield. And then, like I say, just also having that, being a speed threat, somebody who can run, it puts a stress on the defense over the top. And now to be able to try to take away from that, now it creates opportunities with guys elsewhere. So like I always say, man, I love guys that's versatile and they can do a multitude of things. But man, if you guys did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man, smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that notification bell where you be notified every time I upload. And I'll see y'all in the next video.